So yeah, that first launch. So this is October 21st, 2005. And I'm sitting in this is my office, my home office. I'm sitting here. I didn't have the bookshelves here. I had my desk like right there. And I hadn't slept in days. And, I talked earlier about what my goals were, what I thought, what would be minimum what I was looking for. And I do have to say, going into this, my best launch ever, which was all what we call internal launch, no partners, I'd done $110,000. So I'd done a couple launches that were just over $100,000. That was my best launch, which back then was really good. And so October 21st, 2005, I'm sitting right there, right where those books are, my desk, and I haven't slept. And I'm just trying to get this thing ready, get the sales letter ready to go and figure out the tech and literally push that proverbial launch button, that the button that sends the email out to everyone. But there was so much going on that I couldn't even look at stats for like the first 10 minutes because I was just trying to make sure the letter was up and my partners had everything they needed. And the first time I went and looked, I think we had $35,000 in sales in about, the first 10 minutes or something like that. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, I've gotten this is going to go. This is going to work. This offer is going to go. And so ended up doing just over $600,000 in sales in that first week. And that was with some significant email outages. We ran into some blacklist issues and some server issues, but we did $600,000 in that first week.
Wow. That's incredible. And I think to the difference between when you were telling me about your first launch ever, you sent an email and went to sleep. Whereas this one, you're up, you haven't slept in days, and it's like in 10 minutes, you see $35,000 coming in. That's got to be exciting to be like thinking about where it's going to go over. Like, did you have a set number of days for OpenCar? Was it like 4 days, 5 days, or was it?
It was right around a week. I basically had a bonus package, a pretty big bonus package of live calls. Like I was going to do live coaching calls plus, live quick start calls. And that bonus went away at the end of the launch. So that was the scarcity at the end of the launch. But the product actually did stay on the market. Because back then we were shipping out boxes. It was all CDs and DVDs and workbooks and a physical box. And so we kept that on the market it just stayed on the market. The deadline was to get this bonus package. It wasn't the strongest scarcity, and we didn't have a massive close the way we tend to do. 40% of our sales for the launch tend to come in the last 24 hours. Back then, it'd be more like about 25% of the sales. It was just the market was different then.
So how did you feel after that with like the biggest launch you've ever had happening with a brand new product and a new style of launch as well that just created? What was going through your head after that?
I was relieved because, like I said, 6 months before that, my business had gone away. So I was looking to create a new business. So I'm like, okay, we've got this start here. And I've built a list. I've got, nearly 20,000 people all of a sudden. So I'm like, we're in business. We are in business. We're absolutely in business. The thing I didn't know then that took me a bit to figure out was back then, the model was if you're going to be in this market, in any market online, you created a product and then you launched it. And then 6 months later or 3 months later, you came up with another product for the same people, but a different type of product, and you launch that. And then 6 months later, you come up with another product and launch. You were always looking for the new thing. The theory was people, they got sick of things, they got over things, that they only wanted the new, the fresh. And so I assumed that was the kind of business I had now created, that I was going to be on this treadmill of always looking for the next new thing. And in fact, I thought like, probably my next new thing is going to be like maybe email list building course, because I'm all about email lists. And so, because that's what everyone did. No one ever relaunched a product. No one ever kept a product on the market for more than a year maximum. Everyone there at the time, I mean, I'm using a lot of seemingly generalizations, but that really was the way. There was literally no other product out there that had been on the market and stayed on the market. And that was just where things were. And then,
like re-releasing a movie, like I'm going to put out Titanic again. Like it just makes no sense.
Right. That's what people thought, like literally. And so then, we were talking a little bit before we started recording. So October 21st, 2005, PLF's now on the market. But when you're shipping boxes out, you're not really getting feedback from people. There's no social media. There's zero social media at the time. And we don't have an online course with online community, with online comments. So it's literally like publishing into a vacuum. I've sold, send out those 600 boxes or 610 boxes out into the world, and they're out there. And then in March, so about 5 months later, I went to a conference, a marketing conference. It was Yannick Silver had this underground online seminar. And I went there, and I don't know, there was 200 or 300 people in attendance. And I remember the night, there was a reception the night before it started. And I remember, got to the hotel, went in my room, got freshened up, went down to that conference or to the reception. And almost immediately someone came up to me and he's like, Jeff, you're Jeff Walker. I got Product Launch Formula, and let me tell you about this launch I did. I just did this launch and I was able to quit my job. And I was like, well, that's awesome. Because when I went down to that reception, I sort of was had a little bit of trepidation. I was worried because this is my first time out in public, first time at a conference after putting this thing out there. And I knew a lot of the people that bought, a bunch of the people are going to be there because it was, like I said, it was a small world back then. And I was like, are they going to love me? Did they love the course? Did they love the product? So I was a little bit worried. And, anyone who's listened for a long time here, I'm a bit of an introvert. And so just going into a reception like that's a little bit of a stretch for me. And this Mike is his name, comes up to me. It's like, I quit my job. And then 5 minutes later, another guy comes up and he's like, Jeff, I just did a launch and I was able to buy a wedding ring for my wife with what I made from the launch. And then 5 minutes later, another, one after another, it must have been nearly a dozen people came up to me just telling me about launch after launch after launch, quit my job, did this, got it, it's just like unbelievable. And at that point, I was like, it was so gratifying to know that I had, delivered a product that delivered those results for people. And that was the start of this thought that, like, if this course, if this training is delivering these kind of results over these incredibly disparate launches in all kinds of different niches and markets. I mean, there's one, a guy, it was teaching natural vision correction without LASIK, and it launched at nearly $500,000. That's amazing. That was when I was like, this isn't just like a one-shot wonder. There's just no way it's getting these results. This is going to have legs.
Hey, Launch family, wasn't that a great clip? If you want to see more of these clips, or maybe you want to check out some of the full episodes that we have, hit subscribe. And we also have some absolutely free, amazing launch resources over at getyouLaunched.com. So go check that out. I think you'll really dig it. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.